Why do people hate the NBA right now? Why do people hate general sports in general right now? It's because of stuff like this. September 11th happened 19 years ago yesterday. And what does the NBA do? They decide to kneel for the national anthem. We're going to talk about that and more, and we're going to start right now. Hi, my name is Kyle, and welcome to the channel where we take culture, TV, movies, and politics, and we filter to you the right way. If this is your first time on this channel, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button and the bell icon so you don't miss any future content. Now, like I said in my introduction, people are dissatisfied with sports in general, especially when you talk about the NBA and talk about wokeness inside of sports. People are tired. Fee, file, full figure. Oh, I am so tired of woke politics in my entertainment, in my media, and now in my sports. I'm going to show you two examples. The NBA, which right now is probably the most egregious, as well as the NFL, what happened at the opening kickoff and how their ratings pretty much have tanked. Now, that being said, nothing can be more disgusting in my opinion than this. And this is the NBA players kneel during the national anthem on the anniversary of 9/11. These people, I'm not going to try and be too disparaging on these people. I think many of them are just NPCs. That's a term that people use for non-playable characters. It relates to the gaming community, and what a non-playable character is, or NPC, what it simply means is that the computer does the work for that character. It plugs in the values, and the player does whatever the computer tells it to do without any thought behind it. And so what I think is happening is these NBA players have this NPC mentality where they're basically doing exactly what they're programmed to say by the mainstream media, by politics, and by whomever it is who has an agenda to push forth. It is my opinion that these players and many other people like them are being used as useful idiots in the realm of pushing forth a narrative to get an agenda forward. Unfortunately for them, the American public is sick of this stuff. If you look at the polling numbers in this stuff, if you look at like the narrative that happened between Charlottesville and what Trump said, most people, an overwhelmingly majority of people, believe that Trump truly meant when he said there were good people on both sides, he meant it in the proper context, not in the context that the spin happened. That's important to know, because what that means is people aren't buying the stuff that they're being fed. Now, what we're seeing now in the NFL and in the NBA, we're seeing narratives and slogans and people's names put on courts, on jerseys, in infomercials to and from. We're seeing people commentate on ESPN, which we want to get into a clip about that, about the NFL, about the booing that happened in the Kansas City Texans game yesterday. But back to this. Let's talk about this. All right. So it says here in this article, this is from Truly Times. It says here that Friday marked the 19th anniversary of the September 11th, 2001 terror attacks against the U.S. Approximately 3,000 Americans lost their lives on 9/11. Overpaid athletes in the NBA have zero honor. They kneeled for the national anthem on the anniversary of 9/11. Now, let's say here, there's a clip here that I'm going to play, and this particular clip is the promo that the NBA did prior to the game. So here you have a scene of 9/11 that day, clouds, smoke, fire trucks, first responders.
The tragic events of September 11th
shocked
and saddened the world. Today, we pay tribute to the thousands of innocent victims who lost their lives, and we give special thanks.
So they're honoring the victims and first responders. Everything looks good.
To the heroic first responders who put themselves in harm's way. The NBA takes this moment to remember, reflect, and honor those brave men and women.
Okay, so you're gonna honor the brave men and women, I guess the people who went into the buildings, who helped rescue the first responders, but at the same time, you're going to kneel and denigrate the country that this took place in, that the citizens of this country who were the first responders had a sworn duty to uphold the Constitution and to serve and to protect. So it's one or the other. And then, now, I didn't watch this, but supposedly they stood for this particular part. So it's almost as if, they on one side say that we're going to, be upset by the country that has this social injustice going on, particularly with police, because that's what they're really trying to say is going on. But at the same time, they want to turn around and then actually honor the police. Now, they didn't show the police in the clip conveniently. They showed first responders. But if you remember, back on September 11th, police officers and firemen were the hottest items in this country. They were the most respected, the most revered, and so that was what it was. But they didn't show a single police officer in this particular clip, I do not believe. So it says, Clay Travis of Outkick says, rough look for the NBA players to kneel for the national anthem on anniversary of 9/11. It is a horrible look. A horrible look. Here you have a clip here between what happened on the right and what they did yesterday, kneeling on the left. All right, you have this guy here, Craig McCarty says, keep digging your own grave, NBA, and Adam Silver, who's the commissioner of the NBA. Letting these entitled guys take a knee on 9/11, be ashamed, losing more and more viewers because of the constant disrespect. Now check this out. The NBA has a policy against kneeling for the national anthem, but they're not upholding it. And so this here is a perfect example of why people are turning their backs on the NBA. And you have people like LeBron James putting forth these different things that are insanely inaccurate. He's putting forth the narrative that police officers are hunting down black people and gunning them down in the streets in droves. But any person with half a brain would understand, not only from the statistics, which is bad enough, but just from clear observation and common sense, that is not what is happening. You have twice the amount of white people getting killed by cops than you have black people. They don't care about people like Tony Tempa, Justine Damon, and Daniel Shaver. You don't hear those names. You don't hear about these names at all. Why? Because it does not fit the narrative that the mainstream media, they want to keep you thinking on the mindset that it's black people, the only ones that are being hunted down by white people, white cops. That's what they want to tell you, and it's utterly ridiculous. Anyone who has a internet connection can go see for themselves what that information is like. They want you to believe these narratives, but people are not buying it. Here you have an article here that says, back in the blue, over 80% of voters believe police deserve support and respect. Over 80%. These people do not understand the American public is not backing their narratives. And what are the narratives that they're trying to push forth? Let's just take, for example, this is the narrative. They want to say that George Floyd was murdered by a racist cop because he was black. We do not know, based on the new evidence that came out, if race was the primary factor in that, and it's up to a court to determine what happened altogether. But yet, that's the narrative. Secondly, Jacob Blake was an innocent bystander who was shot in the back by cops 7 times. That's the narrative they want to push forth. But again, that is not the truth either. But I'm going to leave that particular case to itself. And again, that needs to be held in a court as well. And the third narrative is that Breonna Taylor was again an innocent bystander in her bed and just got shot by cops who barged in the house. Again, they're not telling you the truth on that one either. But those are the 3 narratives, and many, many others, like hands up, don't shoot. That was proven false as well. And that's the problem I have. If you want to take social injustice, if you want to call it that, there are plenty of cases that you can actually put out there. But they're taking cases that are not good examples or true or factual whatsoever, damaging their credibility. If there's racism, show it to me. The whole world will lock arms together and we will stomp it out. But when you take stuff that are not true, narratives, you push it in a way that's totally untrue, not using facts, refusing to entertain counter arguments that are truthful, then you become a talking piece for a political party and agenda. And people are sick and tired of that. Okay, let's look at this article by the Houston Chronicle. It's an opinion piece, and it's a liberal one. And I'm going to just walk through this a little bit and just pull this thing apart. Here it says here, opinion. Kansas City fans told on themselves by booing NFL's moment of unity. What they're trying to say is that, this headline is supposed to say is, well, the people there who are white are admitting that they're racist and booed at these black NFL players while singing the Negro national anthem. So it says here, do you want to know how disunited the United States of America is currently? A group of athletes of different races, various backgrounds stood together, linked arms, and asked for a moment of silence dedicated to the ongoing fight for equality in our country. What did they get? An attaboy and a pat on the back, maybe a keep up the good fight, young fellas. No, they didn't get any of that. They got booed, not by everyone, but by enough of the 17,000 fans inside Kansas City's Arrowhead Stadium for a TV audience to hear it and for some players on the field to recognize it. That's more than just a few bad apples. We must realize it's usually the case. Now, before I get into this and dig into this, let's look at this guy here. This gentleman here, this guy's name is Ryan Clark, and he had this to say. He said this.
History decide we're going to come together. We're going to come together for unity. We're going to come together to say that we are all in this fight for the same thing. We want everyone to be treated equally. We want everyone to have the same justice system. Bot says, well, we just came together for unity. I don't really understand why people would boo. Well, I'm going to help him out. They're booing because you're doing stuff for black people. They're booing because you are saying that police brutality, social injustice against that community is wrong. That's why they're booing, not because...
So he's going to say, first of all, that they're going to say that because they're ignoring the so-called social injustice, that they're booing because it's happening to that group of people, black people. He's categorizing. So it's not about police brutality at all. He's saying it's because, hey, it's because these black people are getting attacked, not the white people that are happening at twice the rate. Not the people like Justin Damon and Daniel Shaver. No. Tonya Tempa. No. Not those guys, because it doesn't fit their narrative. And, this whole thing is just totally mischaracterized because they want to say that they know the heart and mind of those people in Kansas City. Look, the ratings for the NBA has gone down. The ratings for the NFL are down, lowest in 10 years. And it has nothing to do with them being racist. People want to watch these sporting events. All right. People want to do this. People want to support the teams, but they don't want to be lied to and being propped up with these narratives that are false, and to have it rammed down people's throats and be told that you're racist if you don't agree with a Marxist organization. People don't want to, they're sick of it. They want to see sports. They want to be entertained. They want to be amused. They want to have their fun. But they can't have that because this agenda is being rammed down their throats and it pisses them off. Maybe it's because the Texans didn't want to come out and actually support either anthem. They stayed in the locker room. Maybe they booed for that, So I think it was all of the above. And they paid their money. They're free to boo. I think what's happening is that you guys are just upset that people aren't falling for your crap anymore, okay? And the numbers are showing it. Now, the NFL is smart enough to know that after week 1, they're going to cut all of the pre-game ceremony and go right to the kickoff and not cover any of the flag, anthem stuff. So that's probably a smart thing on their book. But the NBA has gone full bore in on this. Let's go back in the article real quick. Ever since Colin Kaepernick chose to take a knee during the national anthem before games in 2016, upon advice given to him by Green Beret and American hero Nate Byer, all eyes have been on NFL players during pre-game ceremonies. What they don't tell you on that statement is that Colin Kaepernick was not kneeling for the flag or for the police. He was kneeling in protest to him not getting any playing time. It was only after the fact when he was interviewed by the interviewer who basically asked him, and basically it shifted into that. Was your statement kneeling? Was that for this social justice? And of course, that's what it ended up being. So the initial kneeling was him being upset by him not getting playing time due to a white quarterback taking his place. That was what it was all about. That's where it started. And Colin Kaepernick saw dollar signs and just went with it. That's all that was about. And people, again, are sick of this narrative. They're tired of it. NFL ratings have gone down. I suspect if they get rid of that after week 2, they'll be fine. But the NBA has totally lost all credibility. No one cares. No one watches the games, and they are an embarrassment. And the more LeBron James comes out of his mouth with anything he says, makes the league look more and more idiotic and desperate. And so the important thing is this. What do you think about all this? What do you think about the Kansas City Chiefs fans booing the teams before the game? Was it because it was racism? Or was it because maybe they were just sick and tired of all this wokeness into their sports? Or was it that they were upset that the other team didn't come out in the locker room at all? So that could be also an issue that no one on the other side wants to talk about. What about the NBA? Do you even care about the NBA? And what do you think about their situation with them kneeling on the 19th anniversary of 9/11, where we lost nearly 3,000 American lives, and all the while giving a backhanded diss to law enforcement? Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd be curious to know what you think. And so, if you like what we do on this channel, we take culture, TV, movies, and politics and filter to you the right way, then please click the like and subscribe button and that bell icon so you don't miss any future content. Go to walkedaway.net, make it known when you first walked away, share with your friends because we're trying to reach 10,000 subscribers, and please check out some content that we have right here.